Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So, stop cheating on your guitar. Yes, we're talking about cheating with the G chord today. And there's two particular ones that I know of because I was taught them. Okay, and a lot of people are taught these cheater chords, and really they shouldn't be taught. I've never seen them actually written on an actual chord chart that they're an allowable chord because they are so difficult to transition between different chords. But some people complain, oh, my pinky's not strong enough. Yeah, well, called practice, okay? You ever heard of it? Do it, okay? Stop being such a whiny baby. And besides which, it's really not a painful experience to do a proper G, all right? Now, a proper G uses your third finger on the third fret of the sixth string, your second finger on the second fret of the fifth, and your pinky down on the first string of the third fret. This is a proper G. Now, if you had to transition between a G to a G7, okay, that's as simple as dropping one finger down, which will be your first finger on the first fret of the first string, and lifting up your pinky. Now, if your song you're playing happens to call for this rotation, which does happen, by the way, how are you going to go from this particular cheater G, okay, which uses first finger, second fret on the fifth, second finger, third fret, sixth, and third finger on the third fret of the first? How are you going to transition between those two? You can't. And that's just trying to do it once. Okay? Now the other cheater G, of course, is using this. Now this is your thumb on the third fret of the sixth and your third finger on the third fret of the first. Again, transitioning. It's going to be hard. You may get away with certain chords with these cheater Gs, but to learn these cheater Gs and to use them and to avoid the proper G is kind of stupid and unproductive. Okay? So you want to make sure you learn the proper chords for all of your chords. There are a lot of cheater chords out there, and a lot of people have somehow figured out how to use cheater chords, but they end up using cheater chords to use cheater chords to use cheater chords and avoiding proper chords a lot. Alright? And yep, sure, you can do that. Does that make you a good guitar player? Hell no, that makes you a very piss poor guitar player. So this is something where, like everything else in life, if you're going to do it right, or don't even bother at all. You know, cheating doesn't get you anywhere, especially in music. Alright? And you are not going to cheat a G7 that easily, or a G sustained or suspended, however you want to name that chord. Now, a G7, too easy. Drop one finger down, lift one up. Okay? If you want to drop another finger down and not lift anything up, G suspended or G sustained, however you want to call it. Now, there is another G chord that you can use that is not called a cheater chord. It is actually a proper chord for a G, and that's by taking your pinky on the first string on the third fret, your third finger on the third fret of the second string, your first finger here on the sixth string of the third fret, and your first finger on the fifth string of the second. Now this is what's known as a augmented G. To a lot of you, you'll recognize this as an augmented G. It's also gone under a couple other different names on chord charts as well, okay? And this is a kind of a nice G because it can round out a lot of chords. Because you can also go to other chords like your C, your F, your A, your E, and keep these two fingers down. Now, this is something that I wouldn't get too attached to either, because there are a lot of songs out there that even though this is a nicer G, this may be a little bit nicer C or an F or an A or an E and so on. They may be a little nicer, but they're not going to sound right with the vocals, you know, and it's just not going to sound right, all right? And you may have to transition from, say, this G to B minor. That's not such a bad transition, is it? And you can get back to this G, go to C. Okay, but what about going from an F? It's a little bit of a delay. Okay, but you can get that quicker with time and practice. You'll still never be perfect, but you can get it much quicker. Now, like I said, this is not a cheater G, a cheater C, a cheater F. These are actually proper ones. But with this cheater G, or this cheater G, this can cause you problems, and it's going to limit your playing skill or your playing abilities, okay? And you're never going to get fast enough to switch over to those other chords. And if you're rotating between a G, G7, and G, oh, good, have fun with that one, all right? That's going to be really hard. And you know, the thing is too, why do the cheater G? Because if you have to do a G7, your fingering for a G7 is the proper way, okay? And then your fingering for a G sustain or G suspended, however you would like to call this, takes in part the proper G to begin with, and then you lay down your first finger on the first fret of the second string. You will get that transition in some songs between an A minor or an E minor or even an E to that G7, G, G7, G, okay? You're going to get those transitions happening, so why even bother to cheat in the first place? So keep in mind, guys, stop using cheater chords. They're going to impede or impair you or destroy your playing capabilities. You will be sounding like horrible stuff, and like I said, you're not going to ever change fast enough to make it sound really good and smooth. And music is something that is done that has to be very smooth, okay? It has to transition properly, chord to chord, strumming, everything, okay? Movements, the whole nine. It has to go smooth. Otherwise, you're kind of like playing like chop-chop, and that's not very good. So if you've been taught these chords that are cheater chords of any kind, stop. Learn to play the proper chords. It ain't that hard to play the proper chords. It's real easy to cheat, but you know what? It takes work to do things right, and that's the way you should be doing it. So anyways, thanks for watching, and catch you on the next video.